Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. It's July 6th, 2016. The big news story today has been the death of a young, unarmed black man at the hands of Baton Rouge, Louisiana police. The killing was supposedly yesterday, July 5th, 2016. Already today, front page news story, video of the killing, a lot of details, and more. In this video, what we're going to do is we're going to break down the reporting of the shooting. I'm going to show that this is another manufactured piece of propaganda, not a real killing, a story that's meant to anger people, provoke them, make them fearful, divide them. It isn't to say that police don't harass young black men in this nation. I used to work with disadvantaged youth in a teen homeless shelter. I've worked with a lot of young black men who've been harassed by the police many times. I know very well this is the reality of this nation we live in, but what I am also showing is that the news creates propaganda that's over the top, that's meant to infuriate, and divide. Freemasonry. It is Freemasonry running the show in this nation. Media, government, police. Their mottos are order through chaos, divide and conquer. In this story, we have chaos and we have the seeds for division. Just recently, CNN put up this as their new top story, Clinton case closed. Another story by the numbers. If you haven't seen my work on Hillary Clinton and why she was let off yesterday, the same day as the date of this shooting, check that out. It's all part of a sick joke. The sick joke is deep. I've been covering it for years. I showed when Loretta Lynch became the nominee, the sick joke behind the name Lynch, her being the lawyer, the attorney general for the first black president, the last name Lynch. You might recall that the Congress held up her nomination, delayed it over a long period of time, a record period of time. I have videos on all of that showing how it was propaganda meant to divide people by the numbers. We live in a military psychological operations that's meant to control us and steer us into the type of citizenry the powers that be want. And those are people who are fearful, looking to government for answers to the problems, and at the same time just grinding, generating revenue through taxes, consumption. These stories are the ingredients to the way so many of us live our lives. So with that said, let's get into the shooting of this young man. We'll watch the news footage they've put out of his killing. This is probably the most graphic footage they've done of a shooting yet. And, think about it. The media needs to hold people's attention. They've been bombarding them with shootings like this. They're not getting the ratings. They're not getting the attention they want. They have to step it up. So we'll see how they stepped it up in this video. Let me make this bigger for you. Pay attention to the turquoise shirt they show him in. We'll talk more about that.
It's all about this man, Alton Sterling. This as his family and friends want him to be remembered this way. The 37-year-old man was shot to death yesterday early morning outside of a convenience store where he sold CDs and DVDs. And the video we're about to show you was taken from inside a car. The video is very graphic and it is very disturbing, and you need...
Truth Seeker, I'm just watching the S&P ticker. A lot of my viewers, when they watch these videos, they'll say, hey, Zach, did you see the numbers that were on the ticker? This is one of those shining examples. They're about to introduce a story of a killing of a young black man, and the number 213 is on the screen. If you've never seen my work on 213 and the killing of celebrities, especially young black men, please check that out. Tupac Shakur, shining example. Len Bias. Moses Malone, who recently passed, was killed by this code. So many black men in this world killed by the numbers 213. I have videos talking about it. Very interesting that that's what's on the S&P as they introduce this topic.
To make sure there are no children in the room if you are going to watch this video in just a few moments. We're going to play this video only once in its entirety, unedited, because it is critical that you see these details for yourself. The details are what are going to be analyzed and assessed and investigated for days, if not months, if not years. So with that warning, here is the video.
So there was the news coverage. Notice he was wearing a red shirt. There was a red carton in the background. You hear the shot. You don't see the damage though. You can't see any blood. You can't see any carnage. And this, again, is another manufactured piece of propaganda meant to make people upset, meant to make them afraid. In the details of the story, they said that he gave out CDs and DVDs. Many young black men in this world make their living by doing exactly that. And this news, it'll have them thinking, man, I could be next. And that's exactly what the people who make the media want. They want people fearful. They want them thinking they could be next. They want people outraged. And, admittedly, we have a lot to be outraged about. We should very much be outraged about our police departments. They don't provide safety for anyone. They cover for the criminals. They're here to protect the corporate giants that abuse us all. What do? What do they contribute? They grind us for more tax revenue, writing meaningless tickets. Our police are part of the problem. So I definitely acknowledge that. And here I'm showing how they're contributing to fake stories to push an agenda of division. So here was the front page story for the majority of today from CNN. They just changed it out with Hillary Clinton. The headline all day was "Deadly Force Sparks Outrage." They're still keeping that even on the sub-headline for this story. And the reason why is because in gematria, deadly force sparks outrage sums to the same thing as shooting. And as we're going to see, one of the two officers involved in the shooting has matching name gematria, 107 as well. In my book that I'm working on, I have several chapters. In the fake shootings for the media chapter, I show how often that number 107 is coded into these shooting hoaxes. So the name of the man, Alton Sterling, gematria 58 and 67 in the Pythagorean format. Today is July 6th, a date written 6/7 in most parts. His name very much connects with the date of the news. The killing was supposedly yesterday, but the news is today, July 6th. The name Alton Sterling corresponds with the date. Blood sacrifice in gematria also sums to 67. This is the news of a killing of a young unarmed man. I think in the video you can hear one of the police yell, "He has a gun," but that's just all part of how it's manufactured. That's the dialogue, that's the narrative, that's the story, that's the divide and conquer, get people thinking different things. What you could see was going on was the man was slammed to the ground by two police officers who had him restrained, who had his head smashed into the floor, and then they shot him, it looked like, in the head. That's the way it was supposed to look at least. So even if he had a gun, it doesn't look like he was going to do anything with it, The name Alton in simple English gematria sums to 62, like Mason. Also like Georgia, yesterday there was some race war programming out of Georgia, which we'll get to. The name Alton Sterling in simple English gematria sums to 166, a number that is connected to tragedy again and again from the World Trade Centers and so much more. One world order in gematria sums to 166. New world order sums to 75. The one world order, the new world order, the Masonic Zionist Jew world order, the people who control the media, who want to divide the populace over all these narratives, race, religion, sex, sexuality, sports, politics. Here it is, new world order, one world order. The coding is in the name, the coding is in the date, July 5th. This is who runs the show. His initials for Alton Sterling, AS. A is the first letter, S is the 19th. His initials are 119. All-seeing eye equals 119. Star of David, numbers that's often coded on this propaganda put out by this Masonic Zionist outfit. The video began with this shot right here. This is just the subtle programming. They teach people in this nation to hate each other for cultural differences. How many racist white people do you think look at this smiling face with the gold fronts and automatically just has this racist program comment they want to make looking at this face? A lot, I guarantee you. And that's how they begin the video. Interesting that Miller's on his jacket. It's almost like advertising within the propaganda. You think about how these news stations show propaganda all day and advertise. Miller has the gematria of 33, just like police, just like race war. In my chapter on race war, I show how all these shootings over the years code these exact same numbers. The numbers we're already talking about, especially 33. I will link this entire post so that you can read it in its entirety. You can have all this information if you want. For the officers, they said the names were Blaine Solomoni and Howie Lake II. So, let's look at their names in light of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Baton Rouge has gematria 46, just like the word sacrifice, just like the color turquoise. They have this man in the turquoise t-shirt. Baton Rouge in simple English gematria also sums to 118. So 46 and 118 are numbers from Baton Rouge. Death in Jewish gematria sums to 118. This is a story of death. Baton Rouge, Louisiana in Pythagorean gematria also matches United States of America. This is propaganda for the nation. Front page story all day, major news outlets. They want people to know this story. They want this information to be viral. They want people's minds to be on it. You know, in reality, people's minds should be on racial injustice, police injustice every day. But that's the thing. People in this nation are trained to follow the media story and where the media leads them with a story. You know? It's superficial. Louisiana alone also has gematria of 38, like death, more death coding. They said the two officers named, Blaine Solomoni, Howie Lake II, they said the officers had 4 years experience and 3 years experience. When I read that, it makes me think of the number 43, 4 and 3. Civil War equals 43, Charleston equals 43. Remember, last year, there was a shooting in Charleston on the 47-year anniversary of the assassination of Martin Luther King Jr. Walter Scott was shot in the back April 4th, 2015. The 47-year anniversary. Then 74 days after that, on June 17th, there was the Charleston church shooting. Very racially divisive stories. They said the kid's name was Dylan Stormroof, which summed to 74. They said he was a white supremacist, which summed to 74. 74 coded all over the events of the shooting. He was arrested on Interstate 74. The point is, all of these stories are synced up by the numbers. And Charleston, the Civil War, very much based in our history books on race, slavery. You know, here it is, a racially divisive story. 4 and 3, 43, Civil War, Charleston. If you haven't seen my work on Freddie Gray as well last year, another tribute to the Civil War. That story came in between Walter Scott and the Charleston church shooting. So anyway, the names of these officers, Blaine Solomoni, gematria of 46, just like Baton Rouge, just like turquoise, just like sacrifice. And the big way, 118, just like Baton Rouge, just like death. One of the officers' names exactly like the city. And if you watch my videos, I'm a broken record. In these stories, the officers' names are always coded with the details of the story, often the city. The other officer, Howie Lake, gematria of 44, just like officer, just like trooper, just like kill, just like shooting. Howie Lake II, if you factor in the II, sums to 62, like Mason, like Alton, the victim. Howie Lake also sums to 107, like shooting. Howie Lake II, 107, like shooting. Howie equals 60, like police, like conspiracy. Howie, the small way, also equals police, race war. Again and again, if you read this chapter, you're going to see how all these decades it's been the same thing again and again. There's over 100 examples in that chapter, just like this. And I'm going to add this example to the chapter. It's just the latest. So, also like typical, the reporting police officer has a Manchurian officer name. His name is the exact same as police. Baton Rouge Police Lieutenant Johnny Dunham told reporters on Wednesday. So I don't care what Johnny Dunham said. He's just a talking mouthpiece here to regurgitate the lies. Johnny Dunham equals 147, just like police in Jewish gematria. They also have this Carl Dabadol Jr., which looks like a completely fictitious name. Before we get to Carl Dabadol Jr., I also want to point out that Johnny Dunham, the small way, sums to 57, just like the date of the shooting, July 5th, commonly written 5/7, also like Scottish Rite, the branch of Freemasonry that controls police, media, our government. No coincidence. This is who runs the show. This is how they always do it. These are the rules, not the exceptions. They said the victim was 37 years old. That also connects to the 57 coding, which corresponds with yesterday's date. And for this Carl Dabadol Jr., look at what he sums to, 46. And just for the record, if you go back and watch my videos on police officer shootings, I'm talking about how 46 is almost always coded alongside these stories as well. So it's no question in my mind why this propaganda is coming out of Baton Rouge. They say the FBI is getting in on it. The FBI established July 26, 1908. If you go back and watch the video of the news at the beginning, you see how the Dow shoots up to 7.26. 726, a very special number to the gang. Revelation equals 726. You'll notice also how the shooting story began at 12:01. If you go back and watch the news, Revelation equals 121 as well. These numbers are used to code because what the madmen, the Masons and Zionists who run the media think they're doing is controlling prophecy and bringing about prophecy by the numbers. And their perceived prophecy is seemingly destruction. So anyway, not to get off on a tangent, the FBI established on a date with 33 numerology. They're the federal police. They are responsible for keeping this propaganda stream going by the numbers. This is not a branch of government that's here to help us. It's always been part of a real conspiracy against the people. The people in government are mostly here to control the masses and steer them along like cattle. Here's some 33 words: race war, federal, police, KKK. And back in the day, most KKK were police. That's why they hid behind the white sheets. You know, people of the law, judges, people who work in the court office. Rodney King beating in history on March 3rd, 3-3 by the LAPD, which equals 33. O.J. Simpson, his whole trial centered around the number 33. Simpson 33. The FBI, sure sign of what's really going on. Anytime the FBI is involved, you know they're up to no good. They put out a 48-second video yesterday, the date of the shooting. I'll just show you this. It had numerology of 48 yesterday. 7 plus 5 plus 20 plus 16 equals 48. The word hoax equals 48. The word propaganda equals 48. The word Illuminati equals 48. The Illuminati are the gang of Masons, Zionists at the top, running the show, giving us this propaganda day after day. There's a reason they made the clip 48 seconds, no doubt. And there's a reason they had him in a red shirt with a red thing in the background, no doubt. You know, resembles blood. Also makes it more obvious that there's no gore from this, you know. If he had a white shirt on, it would be very obvious, you know. He's got a gun. Yeah, let's shoot him in the head. Just sick, truth seeker. Even this graphic video they put out, 1:53 in length, that's the number often coded with 42, the numbers they stamp all over black people again and again. Comes from the Bible, 153 fish in the miraculous catch. The word fish equals 42, miraculous equals 42. The name Loretta Lynch equals 153. There's a rhyme and a reason to these people's numerology and doing things by the numbers. Show you something else about the name Alton. Alton Sterling, our victim. Alton in gematria sums to 211 in the Jewish format, just like the word Mason. The name Alton in simple English gematria sums to 62, also like Mason. The number 211 for Alton and Mason is the 47th prime number. 47, a very important number to the Freemasons. They have something called Euclid's 47th problem, which is about establishing foundation. All of these stories are about building an ongoing foundation for a greater narrative to come. The people at the top want us to hate each other, fight amongst each other. It's hard to say how far they'll take us, you know? That's why they need to be taken out before we even find out. Louisiana, as we talked about, has the gematria of 38. There's also the S exception in Pythagorean gematria, adding 9 more. Louisiana sums to 47. This story comes out of Louisiana. 211, the 47th prime. The name Alton and Mason, the small way, both sum to 17. Mason with the S exception sums to 26, the reflection of 62, like Mason and Alton. I bring this up because the name Sterling in Jewish gematria sums to 351. If you add every single number up to 26, it sums to 351. If you add every single number up to 17, it sums to 153. Again, Alton also equals 17. These numbers have relationships. The Masons are playing God over the masses, staging propaganda by the numbers, by the day. So I think we covered it all. Actually, one more story. Let me show you this propaganda yesterday from the media. This came July 5th, supposedly the day Alton was killed. This came out of Georgia, the 4th state. Georgia, the 4th state with gematria 44, 444. Masonic in English gematria equals 444. Story says KKK wins Adopt a Highway ruling. And notice how they emphasize Adopt a Highway. Adopt a Highway sums to 138, just like Ku Klux Klan, what the KKK is. And also we're getting all these headlines about Donald Trump and him not denouncing the Klan. It's all coded propaganda. It's all meant to divide us, piss us off. You know, Donald Trump here to provoke all of us who are sane people. KKK 33, when you write out 33, it sums to 66, just like Adopt a Highway. This story coming out of Georgia, a state that's used for a lot of divisive propaganda. But if you use these skills, if you use gematria, numerology, you'll learn to see through the headlines. In the description, I'm going to link my How to Gematria video, as well as this entire chapter. I haven't edited this chapter. I've just written it. It's the rough draft. I still need to edit it, put it into the book. But the information as it is, it's profound. It's worth reading. You can learn a ton. And you can educate your family and friends and help spread this knowledge so we can stop being tormented and provoked this way. The word torment equals 33, just like race war. And that's what they do to us daily with their Masonic media. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time. Encore, there's something I need to point out. If you read the chapter draft on race war, unfortunately, when I copy and paste this to where you're going to view it, the images aren't going to be there. This chapter has images in it, and the images add to the quality of the writing. I show how this Eric Garner choking, they're wearing this number, the 99 shirt, the choking's in Staten Island, New York, plus a whole lot more. All of these stories are coded out. The pictures also help tell the story. Unfortunately, the pictures aren't going to be in the draft, but when the book comes out, all of these pictures will be there. Everything will be edited, fixed, improved. So just keep that in mind if you read the draft. Also, if you read the draft, please feel free to be critical. Please feel free to offer advice. If you see any crucial stories I missed, which I really don't think I did, I was very thorough. I went back to 1959 and brought it forward. But if there's anything you want to add, please let me know. I'm here for the criticism. I'm here for the advice. I want this book to be as good as it possibly can. So, just a little tip there. I wish the images showed up in the draft, but they're not going to be there. There's a lot of pictures in this chapter that are important. So sorry about that. All right, until next time.